everybody, it's the last Robo Kai here, and welcome to episode 6 of Dawn of War Winter Assault, the Order campaign. We're finally into the final chapters, the final missions for the Imperial Guard comes first, and then after that the Eldar. They're all, once again, it's going to be the same map all across the board for all 4 factions, but what you got to do and how you got to go about it, and the things you got to face, there's a bit of variation mixing it up, but they all have a general theme of a big penultimate clash coming, and I think we've already pretty much spoiled what's coming. So joining me, as always, is Cool Guy.
It wasn't just us that did it. Remember, Tall Deer told us exactly what was coming. She's one of the only ones that actually has all of the information. So
Sturnn doesn't
wasn't even
believe her
us.
even slightly. So
Oh well. I mean, I hate how she does business, but she is unusually straightforward when it comes to Eldar.
yeah, well, we'll see how straightforward she is, because she's been left off to die outside the Psychic Gate, so it's just the Imperial Guard fighting against the Orcs and Chaos and our hidden foe. So let's get stuck straight in.
Although the golden throne of Terra orbits a distant star, far from here, the Emperor's hand is on your shoulders today. You have fought and displayed bravery and loyalty far and above your calling as guardsmen. You have faced the full brunt of an orc wall, as well as stared down the horrors of the warp in the fallen Space Marines. And in that, I am honored to have led you. Our task remains, however. There is still work to be done. The Titan is ours, but its machine spirit is injured. The Titan crew is in place, leaving us to defend the Titan while the crew brings its armaments online. For that, we need energy to power the weapon systems. Now go! The fight is far from over!
Alright!
God, Sturnn has the greatest cowboy speeches.
It is pretty fucking great. It pumps you up so hard for this mission.
He's so
So I've
good.
paused just to give everyone a big idea of what's going on here. You can sort of see we've got a bunch of hard points. It's about 6 total that we need to put thermal generators on, and that will allow us to activate the guns of the Titan, and we can use them to shoot things. The thing is that we also, the enemy will primarily target those once you start building them. So, we're going to get waves of chaos and orcs coming in from both sides. And if we put a few generators up,
generators if we hope to power the Titan.
we've also got some Space Marines.
And the orcs will be here any minute, and our defenses won't hold. Establish a stronger perimeter near those generator sites. They have to survive.
Yeah, so that sums it up. After you put in about 4 of them is when, the next phase of the mission kicks off. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in 3, and we're going to put up defenses around those 3 before we start getting too into it. Because you'll sort of notice down south there, we've also got a little bit of blue. That's a base that's got a Mars pattern facility in it, and so we're going to want to send the command squad and the Space Marines down to grab that, so that we can have a Baneblade nice and quick as well. Because we've got to get in there and we've got to repair it, similar to how we had to repair the Sentinels and the Chimeras in the second mission. So, there's a lot to do, but, if you don't go too hard on trying to get the generators going, you can get it done pretty easy.
The being able to finally use the Space Marines is only as good as having both the Assault Marines and the Chaplain on your side. Holy mother, they are so useful in this particular map, because you need basically all of your squad cap running around doing stuff. You don't have any space for freaking Ogrins in here.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing that you've got that's even remotely acceptable as a substitute for Assault Marines or the Chaplain.
Yeah. And while I think the Chaplain does get replaced, you will not get those Ultramarines back if they die, I don't think.
No, they will not. No, I remember that specifically because I like when I was playing this 15 years ago, I lost the TAC Marines early, and I was just like, oh, damn it! Like, I distinctly remember this sinking feeling of dread.
As you wish.
Aside from that, this mission's pretty straightforward. This is I would say is probably the most straightforward. Actually, no, that's not true. The green skin version is the most straightforward. The orc version is the most straightforward. This one is the second most straightforward. It's definitely the most straightforward out of the Order factions. The Eldar one is a bit more challenging and a lot more dynamic and a lot crazier. I'd say the Chaos one's probably the most difficult out of all of them, just because Chaos and Winter Assaults are honestly a little bit weak. They kind of took out a lot of features that made, like, especially like we talked about Chaos in the early game in Dawn of War. They absolutely hobbled them, like they hamstrung them, for as far as I'm concerned. And it's kind of
that is definitely something that I've been getting starkly reminded of during my Disorder runs is that you know there's one or two bones that get thrown in the early game, but you know the level of capability that Chaos has is just so sad compared to what you see on display with the Guard or the Eldar in these campaigns. It's just Chaos Marines are pathetic, and God help you if you need anything more than your Lord in close combat. Just God help you, because Khorne sure as hell won't.
Yeah. It's just like it's just rough. So we're gonna be spending a big portion of this just building up. I would like to clarify as well. I talked about the Titan comic. The Titan is actually the Titan comic is actually just literally just called Titan, and it is a Warlord Titan in that comic. It's like which I don't think was in dispute. I think we've been arguing about whether the Dominatus is a Warlord Titan or not. It just looks like a Warlord Titan to me.
It doesn't. But yeah,
and they might have just been like a design thing they went with. I don't know. It just seems too small to be a castle bot. You see, like when I call it a castle bot, that's quite literally because the Titan that we're referring to, whose name eludes me at the moment. What's it called again?
What the
castle bot's actual name?
The one here in game?
No, the class of it. Like the actual name of the class of Titan.
Oh, my mistake. It's escaping me as well. Give me just one moment. I'll look that up.
Essentially, this thing looks like a giant castle on legs. Is why I call it Castlebot, which unfortunately has meant that I don't remember its actual proper name.
Yeah, I mean,
this is what happens when you give yourself brain damage.
It happens. Completely autonomous. Yes, I believe this is. We're talking about the Warmonger class Emperor Titan.
No, I don't know. I don't think that's the name of it either.
The other main one is the Imperator class Titan.
That's it, Imperator.
Okay, Imperator I was gonna say, like, both of them look like castles to my ass. I'm like, I'm looking at it right now.
Well, in the, like, I don't know, like, I haven't even heard of that one before, so maybe they added another size, just because it's like, well, I mean, you know, we've got the biggest one, but what if we added another big one? But, the Imperator Titan, was essentially the big feature of, Epic, the large-scale Warhammer 40,000 tabletop game that they used to have, where basically the scale was amped up, so you would have like this tiny base with 5 models on it to represent like a combat squad of Space Marines, and then it just sort of got bigger from there. Like tanks were very small, and then you had Titans of various stripes, and the Titans just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's where all like the really wild stuff, like the massive gargantuan Tyranid bioweapons and the Orc Gargants and even the Manta class Tau weaponry. You know, they're just like they've started bringing some of these higher scale models down, but they're still the dinky ones. Like they're still the small guys. the Imperial Knights, they're like the smallest Titan. Even like the Warhound, which is like the next smallest, still is like way too big for proper tabletop. The Warlord would take up the entirety of a table. The Imperator Titan would, like, his foot would take up most of the table. It's like you fit an entire army in a foot of the Imperator Titan. Scale of it is fantastic. I love it. I do so love Epic for its scale. And it is. There have been a few 40k games made based on Epic's stuff, but there hasn't really been any more modern ones made. There is, I believe, the Armageddon mod or Apocalypse mod, sorry, for Soulstorm, that we will be showing off in a few multiplayer games. I'm going to make sure everybody gets it so that we can play it. So you can see what it looks like when this game can't handle like what it's doing anymore with all the giant machines and explosions. It just dies.
It's like Soulstorm in particular was a very funny ending to this, and not entirely sweet. Like, it was kind of a bittersweet ending just because I almost characterize it as the old trope of you either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain, because basically the game lived long enough to just collapse in on itself and become bad in all sorts of hysterical ways.
I will freely admit I have only ever played one whole campaign of Soulstorm, and I think I played 3 multiplayer games, and that was it. I never touched it again. I don't even think I just don't think I touched Dawn of War again after that.
I mean, so, there was definitely a lot of Dawn of War in the world at that point.
It probably didn't help that I'd played a lot of Dark Crusade, like a ridiculous amount of Dark Crusade. It's almost funny because, like, I look at Steam, and Steam, you know, like, it's basically like, oh yeah, you've played 13 hours of Dark Crusade, and it's just like,
you are wrong.
It's like,
wrong.
I played it before it all came to Steam, and then I bought the Steam version. Hey, Mega Armored Knob. I'm sending the boys down now on a rescue mission. So we're gonna go down and we're gonna get the the good stuff. We're gonna get ourselves a Baneblade, because I feel like I've sort of made the defenses strong enough. They can still be stronger, and they will be stronger. But at this point, I need the Baneblade, because if I'm gonna start expanding to get the other things, I definitely want more coverage and a big gun. Well, sorry, 11 big guns that independently target everything is what I need to guard one flank. That's all I need.
The meme you get from the guard when they're under attack is they yell, "Where's our fire support?" The Baneblade is the fire support solution here.
Yeah. So here comes the bad guys. They're gonna pour in and attack the base. I will take these guys out and then take the Baneblade out to remove that spawn location. You could, if you wanted to, once you get the Baneblade, just do a little victory lap around the map and destroy every single holding of the enemy.
Between the orcs and the fallen space marines, we'd have died. But we'd have died standing.
Hey! The flexes, the flak jacket just explodes off, and his chest hair has been carved into a shape of the Aquila. Most interesting is that they used the icon from Dawn of War that they used for them there. So this guy's probably just a veteran of, like, the original
yeah,
game.
that was always the way I interpreted it. Is just like, wow, that's an old portrait. Are you as old as your portrait, sir? Because that's old. That's really old.
That's right. I've still got my first issue portrait. Still works as good. None of these clean-cut pictures.
Mars Pattern Command Facility.
There it is.
Fully repaired.
Easy. GG
Rock
easy.
and
I also
roll.
get some free Lim and Rust tanks too.
Alright, well that's just cruel. Adding, like, I forgot about that part. I forgot that they added on Lim and Russes. But seriously,
Lim and Rust is such a good boy.
It is really easy, particularly when you're only watching these videos, to forget exactly how effectively Lehman Russes are. But we did a couple of multiplayer games of Dark Crusade in our community Discord, and
yes.
just the Lehman Russes are just both on the orcs and for the guard. They're just absolute priority targets. You can't ignore them. If you try to ignore them, they're going to turn you inside out because like 2 or 3 of those main gun shells they'll core out a standard infantry unit.
Oh yeah, they ain't here to play. They're here to destroy, and they're great. They punch, like they punch at exactly their weight, and their weight is extremely heavy.
Yeah, you're looking at the map, and they look smaller than they feel. But you know, those are very heavy units, and you need to treat them as such. You're gonna have a very bad time. Go away, Raptors. We need you to go.
Yeah, I feel like the theme of this game is basically Raptors sure suck, don't they, guys?
My God. And that's the problem, is that they do suck. They're a bad unit. God forbid you try to use them in the Chaos campaign. God, what a waste of effort.
Let's not go that way. This is a silly place. Or maybe we'll just send the Baneblade that
yeah,
way.
I mean, like that is call in the fire support. You just outrange everything, and it all dies. Screw you!
It definitely says something when the enemy's attempt to encroach on your base just fails miserably like that, because they quite literally cannot get... Like they cannot even see you. You've hit them from, like, way outside their, like, ability to see you. So good. I love the Baneblade. Everyone loves the Baneblade. I don't think there's a soul.
Well,
there's
I
a
mean,
soul
you
in
hate
Dawn
the
of War
Baneblade when it's coming up your tailpipe, but you know, I mean that.
Look, I hate landmines more. We've been playing the multiplayer game. I'm just gonna say now, playing the multiplayer game has given me a healthy disdain towards landmines now. Not because they're useless, but because they're too useful.
I mean, I'll put it this way. And I'll put it this way when we were doing the multiplayer as well, is that they are incredibly useful for not losing. They are very, very not useful for winning the game.
It was so funny.
But this is exactly the reason why you have a crew, you have a community of cool people that will go around. They'll play these old games and just have good experiences with you, because you can rediscover these things and have a lot of fun with it. You know, honestly, the cats who perfected it. Shout outs to Jay Saru and Myan. You know, it was one of those situations where you hate him in the moment, but afterward you just have to laugh at how incredibly stupid that was, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun. You know, I want to see it every day. I'm trying to play this game online or something like that. But holy crap, it was so much fun to just be like, oh god, there's the minefield again. Every friggin' explosion.
And of course, another thing that the Dark Crusade multiplayer games taught everybody is that I'm Necron Hitler.
Yeah, that's about right.
Hey, good news, everybody, because by the time this video gets published, we'll have obviously already announced the results. But I will be playing Dark Crusade campaign as the Necrons, which is definitely gonna be a thing, I guess.
Just get your trumpets out, because lots of motherfuckers are gonna need to have taps played for them. That's all I got to say about it.
It's gonna be fun, but it's also going to take a long time to get anywhere.
I mean, that's fine. That's what the magic of editing is for.
It's actually kind of caught me by surprise, because like I hadn't built anything up there, so suddenly they're all just sort of like coming down to give me trouble. I was just like, hey, excuse me.
You sandbagging, bro?
Mm.
Do you even sandbag like we live? Thank you, Chaos dude dying in the background.
Yeah, someone laughed.
You laughed at
someone
me.
laughed.
Damn it. Hate each and every one.
Wow, that's actually like that's the first time I've actually seen the game clown on someone before. That was brutal. Holy shit! Speaking of playing tabs. Oh my god!
Yeah, like I just got fair incinerated by both you and the game. Good god!
I'm gonna be stuck on that for the rest of the video now.
I mean,
Ah, dear.
it was pretty fantastic.
Didn't I destroy your base? Are you guys just spawning out of nothing?
Maybe?
Maybe there's just more than one base out
You definitely
there.
shelled the crap out of a chaos hardpoint in that direction.
Of course, the funny part being is my realization, wow, I haven't actually upgraded any of my troops. Yeah, they've just been this badass by themselves.
They spawned them with like a sergeant and a bunch of plasma guns and everything already, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, true enough. But still, imagine now once I actually like requisition gear for them, they're gonna be pretty crazy.
Insane, just absolutely crazy.
Which is just as well. The enemy attacks do start escalating. Yeah, we do have demons now.
And that part of this map is not equivalent to or is not based on your number of generators built. It will simply intensify as time goes on. And,
yeah, that's basically how it's been in that's basically just how Dawn of War has it done waves. And I think that's in part what was used to make the skirmish maps that were like wave-based survival like sort of things. Is I think they used that sort of code
algorithm
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
To do it. Ah, God, it's good. Like if I can dig that out, I will do it. I will do something.
I mean, that is something that I would definitely roll with. Like, cause I remember all of those custom things from like StarCraft and everything. Like defend the temple. Like shoot, I remember defend the temple. I lost like dozens of hours of my life out of that wave survival custom map in StarCraft. It was so much fun.
Alright, it is time we started getting the ball rolling though. I feel like I'm in a good enough position now I can start working on getting some of these generators going. Just build all this stuff up. Because I mean, like, I've got money for days, like, you know.
You definitely do. Like, your economy is popping off at this point.
There's no need to wait. There's no need to be patient. It is simply time for war, and we love war, especially if it's only war. Apparently the Fantasy Flight Games has a book for playing as a team of guardsmen called Only War, and it's kind of cool because it does give you a generally good insight into the different sort of like, you know, closer views of the Imperial Guard, and it's got a lot of like references to like old like 4chan TG memes and stuff like that too. But apparently it does actually decide who the winner of Lawn 5 is.
It was an Only War codex that let that slip. I believe it was.
Yeah, like well, you know, the army book. Well, not even army book. It's like a
sure. That's what I meant.
It's like
to
a
say,
splat
sorry.
book. Yeah, I don't even know the correct terminology for it. I'm sure someone else will be
mean,
like, "Oh my God, you call yourselves nerds?" And I'm like, "Yes, illegally." And then I like burn out in front of them and then just like drive off.
I mean, you don't end up completely dead on the pavement.
I do love that one. I do love that quote, but I didn't want to steal it.
Every time I'm reminded of that drill tweet, I lose about 2 minutes of my life laughing about it.
My personal favorite is just that it's not blood, it's victory wine.
Oh man. At any rate, yeah, but there's that is something that I had in my head to bring up, and I'm thankful that you reminded me, is that above and beyond the army books that you have with Warhammer, is that a lot of people have never really been exposed to the what are they called the not really D20 but the tabletop games that are out there. In addition to Only War, which is really kind of set up to be played in a tabletop / D&D sort of format, there's a number of other ones called stuff.
There's Dark
like,
Heresy.
That's the one I was
Trader,
groping for it. Thank you.
Death Watch.
Yeah.
I actually have like the first prints of like pretty much all of those books.
Dark Heresy in particular does a really good job of helping you concretely visualize what combat and living in the Warhammer 40k universe is like for somebody who's not, you know, a Chaos Space Marine or a Space Marine.
I do enjoy Dark Heresy is probably the most popular one, just because like you play as an Inquisitor's retinue, and you basically your Inquisitor sends you off on wacky adventures, and you know they've got books and stuff for when if you get so good you can become your own Inquisitor. You know, like basically like for massive, super high level adventures, kind of like how like if in a D&D party become gods themselves, sort of thing.
That in and of itself is just one of those soft storytelling points that I'm talking about. Though, is that when you get to epic levels in D&D, you start doing things like punching demigods in the face, and you start having to worry about. You know, hey, are these people who are thankful for all of the things that I've done? Are they just adorers at this point, or have we gone into full blown worship? Am I getting demigod juice and blah blah blah? And in Dark Heresy, the question is really no. You're never at that point, homie. You're never there. The question is whether or not you're just an Inquisitor. Like the only thing that affords you is not being instantly fucking murdered in combat.
So what I've just used is an Earthshaker round. Obviously, the Basilisk took too long to get in position and get to show it off. That is a very special piece of munition that Imperial Guard can use once you've activated the Only War research, and it costs resources to shoot. So you can't just, like, build a huge amount of nothing but basilisks and fire all day. You need to have a stockpile. Because they will basically annihilate everything they hit. Nothing much will ever survive an Earthshaker round.
On the note of the cost, like it was on there for about a split second, but in case you missed it, it's 200 requisition and 200 energy
which is half the cost of actually researching to unlock it in the first place.
And it's also a lot more than just building and equipping a new guardsman squad. You know, like you could get a fresh guardsman squad, a sergeant, and a couple of plasma guns for that guardsman squad for the cost of one Earthshaker round. It's expensive, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely worth it. Yeah, like I've got pretty much everyone in position. It won't be long now before I start building things up. I say as I look at the clock and see I've still got like another 18 minutes, and it's okay. Here we go. This is better.
I mean,
you see this panic? You see that little flare on the ground?
You
panic.
Start moving your ass.
And there we go.
You didn't move your ass!
They're all dead. That's just it.
Note how none of them got back up, yeah.
Nope. Nothing left of them. There's not a bit of them left. They are smeared across the fucking countryside.
Yeah, it's just like oh hey, I'm a fallen space marine. I'm armored like a tank. I'm so freaking cool. Earthshaker around. Blarg, I'm dead.
Oh, it's so good. So, and Only War lets you, the books for that let you play with that. Like I was gonna say, I've got all the Rogue Trader books from like first edition. I don't know if there was a second edition. I sort of haven't been keeping up on the books and everything like that. But I got the special edition, and so I've actually got a writ of trading in my name.
Fantastic.
So I'm technically a Rogue Trader, guys. I just want to let you all know that. I don't have a ship though, so I'm probably the least useful.
You've got the letter of the local equivalent of the letter of marque, which is the actual important part here, and in terms of lore, since we've got time to talk about it. I'm not joking when it comes to that. Rogue traders, we've talked about it before a little bit. They're basically part pirate, part privateer, part hired naval gun for the Imperium, and they are modeled directly after the English privateer model of the Age of Sail, which, and to that point, you also have what do they use to do their job and operate within the law, even though they're doing things that are technically illegal. They have a letter of marque, or in this case, it's a writ of trading, which is pretty much a verified piece of paper that says the bearer of this is so and so, and that cat can do whatever the hell they want. Like, they are assumed to be working for the good of the Imperium, unless basically an Inquisitor or somebody of similar stature says otherwise.
And you can play as a crew for them, and so you've got a bunch of different people who have different histories and might have different roles they want to take. There's always like a mechanicus representative, because they want to get their hands on the tech, so they'll often send out special, like engine seers who like to roam around and get their hands dirty on adventures and stuff like that. So they'll often just like loan them out to rogue traders. And then, then there'll be, like, the ship navigator, because you can't travel through the warp without one of those, and like, the guy who's in charge of all the crew, and then, like, the personal guard. And they also added rules for playing as a Kroot, which is fun, because the Kroot are a weird mercenary species of alien that will just really like going out and having a good time and eating what they kill. And then taking it home and going, hey, look, I ate a whole bunch of stuff, and them going, that's a good idea. And the other alien race you can play as is an orc.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like you can't not point out that the ship's engineer doesn't have to be an engine seer. It can also be a big mech. It can also basically be a big mech orc that got too big for his britches, and his war boss was just sort of like, I can't keep you around anymore. And in orc terms, that means that the war boss tried to kill him. So that's whatever.
I've spoken to a few people who are like, man, I would never let a person be an orc in my game, because they would just be like the equivalent of like the Dungeons and Dragons chaotic evil player, and just like immediately, like as soon as the campaign starts, just crack open a baby and start eating it. And I'm just like, well, I play a certain way, and I would describe to them how I would play that orc, and they're always, okay, so you're the one person that's allowed to do that now. You're the one person I would let be the orc in my campaign. No, I don't trust literally anybody else.
General, the Titan sensors are functioning, but they're reporting anomalous signals and unusual xeno-energy readings.
What? So the Eldar was telling the truth. Rally the troops! If we're to hold off these vile, heartless Necrons, we will need every man!
Emperor be with us. General, the Titan's weapons are online.
Finally! Now we show these Necrons the might of Terra! Titan gunnery crew, fire on those monoliths and bring them down! All guardsman units, drive the Necrons back! Give them hell!
Such a great moment. Keep in mind, that's a little gun on a big gun. So, the Necrons... The Necrons are going to be killing their way through all the enemy bases as they make their way to us, which is good, because it makes it easier for us to like target individual ones and not get overwhelmed. It's very good design. And the reason why you let them get killed. So, the Necrons are very interesting, because the Necrons were probably the most slow burn introduced faction in Warhammer 40,000. Their first appearances happened long before they even had models and army books. There was the Necron Warrior design is based on the Chaos Android design from like old, because when we say Rogue Trader was the original name for the Warhammer 40,000 setting books. It was called Rogue Trader. It's always hard to try and find the gun that actually has the firing arc. I've sort of just moused over it there. Don't worry, I'll find it. And it's like, in it, like, Chaos had androids, and then they didn't. It's pretty much as soon as like first edition Warhammer 40,000 started coming out, they didn't. No, like they didn't have any interest in it after that, and you would see like like a picture of it would appear again as part of a bestiary of like just like this little sketch of like different creatures in the well, like that are like lesser alien races in Warhammer 40,000, and it was just kind of like this mysterious sort of hunched forward robot looking thing, and it sort of was a good sort of introduction to them, because it's sort of how they start to introduce them as a faction is similar to how like the Tyranids were first found as a faction in Warhammer 40,000, is that they didn't just immediately appear and everyone knew exactly what they were. There were signs thing was coming. The Gene Stealers were later discovered to be Tyranids, were a vanguard species of alien that originally the Imperium thought was just from a moon in a different system, because that's where they first encountered them, and they thought, oh, they've just spread out so far because they like to spread out so far. And no, it turns out, no, that's not how they worked at all, and the Imperium was like, oh no. So the likely it was is that like the first thought about how this went was like, oh yeah, they're just like a weird alien species on this planet, because that was where they first encountered them. But then they started to put out stuff about how there was like this damage. Started putting stuff out about how like a lot of shrine worlds and Mechanicus dig sites were starting to come under attack. These places that like weren't contested by the Eldar or anything like that, because the Eldar knew exactly what was there and was starting to fuck away from them. They were starting to, like, human populations were starting to get horribly killed. And they started to put out models for the Necron warriors, and also these weird little beetle things called scarabs. So they've got kind of this mixture of Egyptian motifs, you know, not too dissimilar from the Tomb Kings, but also at the same time, they're the Terminator. They're the motherfucking T-800s. They move slowly, they've got extremely dangerous weapons that just murder people alive. Those things are Gauss guns that essentially just strip you away at the molecular level. So like even a glancing shot usually just just removes the skin off your face or off your arm or things like that. A lot of Space Marines or other veterans of Necron campaigns almost always have some form of biotic or scarring because they've just almost been violently murdered by a stray Necron shot that has just basically stripped the molecules off them.
The only thing armor does is give you a couple of extra layers for it to strip away before it starts stripping away meat. So it's like big cloth greatcoats are almost better armor than you know, like the thin but hardy carapace armor that the Guard have, just because there's more mass to strip away. Just horrifying to think about.
And the monolith is what you might just call the command node of the Necrons. Like, when the Necrons first came out, they didn't get an army book for, like, years after they first came out. So you'd have the Necron warriors, and you had the Scarabs, and then they started to bring out, like, the Necron Lord as a command HQ model, and they kept their cards pretty close to their chests as to what the hell these things were until the Codex was released. So naturally, we'll go into that, because the Necrons have actually gone through a few lore incarnations now.
And we'll have plenty of time to do it in
because we're going to be playing as the Dark Crusade. And also there are, like, you know, multiple other, like, instances of having to fight these guys at the end of the campaign. 3 more times yet to go. And
it's fine. We've got lots more to talk about.
Yeah, so, but their defining feature is the fact that they come out of nowhere. They just teleport seemingly out of nowhere. Spoilers, they're actually, like, buried in the world itself. And they have no souls. These things are soulless. They don't talk, for the most part. The rank and file definitely do not talk. And they simply just do not stop. But if one is damaged enough, every individual Necron warrior has a auto repair system. So it's entirely possible, after a moment, for a Necron to simply stand back up again and keep going. Again, that's like the undead motif. It's like they've taken the concept of space undead and done something actually like super interesting with it, because they've sort of combined it again with Terminator. That sort of an idea. We're just blowing up all these monoliths. And so they basically had a rule when they first came out where you know, you at the end of like the turn when you've been shooting them and killing them in melee and stuff like that, if they still, you know, like you were allowed to roll for them to get back up again. There were certain restrictions on it and things like that. But essentially, you could think you had all but wiped out a squad, and then like most of them just stand back up again. And the only hope you had, once they actually had rules, was to wipe out enough of them.
The Titan's excavation crew is landing along with reinforcements. If I were a suspicious man, I'd call their timing too good.
I told you to hold off until we bested the Necrons. There was no reason to lead more into the slaughter without the Titan's weapons operational.
Indeed, it is a day to be proud, General. Your men perform better than any guardsman unit I've encountered.
Thank you, but our work is not yet done. There are still pockets of orc resistance across Lorne 5. And we must protect the repair crews while they nurse the Titan back to health.
Still, it was an honor to fight alongside you. Barring my space marines, I could not have asked for better.
To each of us falls a task, and all the Emperor requires of us guardsmen is that we stand the line, and we die fighting. It is what we do best. We die standing.
And there it is. The Imperial Guard campaign ends with one of the most beautiful lines regarding what it is the Imperial Guard represents.
Yup.
In Warhammer 40,000, they die standing.
They die standing. The Imperium has access to uncounted trillions, and it asks for a shocking number of those people to die standing.
By God, they do. I love
this.
Do. It's just like, here's the Bloodthirster fighting. Like, there's no cool animations here. We're just putting the Bloodthirster fighting the Baneblade because that's cool.
I don't know what more you would want. Like, that's just.
And yes, that's what the Monolith would have done to the infantry if we'd allowed to get it close. So we will obviously see far more of the Necrons and discuss far more of the Necrons through Winter Assault. I think we'll try and keep it to just the initial introduction of them, and then when we get to Dark Crusade, we'll talk into how when they finally got their first army book and how then they changed as Games Workshop evolved their lore and sort of changed their direction significantly.
Yep.
And you know, and a lot of that plays into the reason I bring it up, like their gradual implementation of them, because it actually will play a lot into the design for the Necrons in the unit selections and everything they get in Dark Crusade as well. So look forward to that. But that was like I said, probably the second most straightforward of all of them. The Eldar are next. I consider them probably the second hardest.
Yeah, they're pretty complicated.
They're not an easy run, but they're still easier than Chaos. Orcs is the most fun one. We're gonna love when we do Orcs. I'm hoping you do Orcs last because it is the most fun one.
That was the general idea that I had, just for ending it on a high note, because it's a very high note.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we start on a rollicker. We'll end on an absolute gangbusters high note. It's not to say I don't mind the Eldar campaign. I hate the Chaos campaign though.
Yeah, that was the reason why you made me do it.
Well, no, you would not play the Eldar anyway. Let's be honest here. You would have been just like, you would have like laid down on the ground, and kicked your arms
he is
and
not
legs
wrong.
in the air. Yeah, it's like it's bad enough that I'm gonna have to sit through you to like the next time we sit down to do recording, groaning the entire way through a thing as the Eldar win. Like,
yeah.
You're just gonna be like,
I'm gonna hate it. It's just the entire
he's gonna be
thing.
doing the
have...
entire commentary, just lying on the floor, like just kicking his legs.
No. I tell you what I'm gonna do. Like when the episode goes up, I'm gonna add a closed caption track to it. But the closed caption track is literally just going to be "Thanks, I hate it" for the entire video. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna friggin' do it.
Please, everybody, hold him to it. Please, everybody, hold him to it. If that next video goes up and it hasn't got that track on it, and he's gonna have to do it, I'm not doing it for him.
Yeah, I give everybody permission to harass me in the comments until I do it.
But that's next time, something to look forward to. If you're really not looking forward to the Eldar winning, that has been that is unfortunately the Imperial Guard campaign. We won't be getting to see too much more of the Imperial Guard after this, except down the barrel of somebody else's gun.
That's usually how you see the Guard. But yeah, until then,
I've been the last Rovokai.
And I have been Cool Guy.
And we'll see you all next time in the Eldar finale.